didn't like me at all, looked at it, and she said, Keith, I think we should give Jim a try. Just like that, you know, because of that card.
Oh, that's
Now, I still haven't sold it, and we've gone through all the reds. We're sent it to the Bengals, so I got another guy doing that. And it worked out really good for me, because I got another agent. I said, hey, I got this listing this way. I said, I really don't want to send out 20 cards a week. I said, I want to send out 10. I'll do the CEOs. If you join the system and you'll send out to the Reds and the Bengals, I said, then you can split the listing with me. So, you know, Freddie, I got another agent who's doing that.
What did you put right here?
Nothing. There's nothing there. That's
so it's just their photo.
Yeah, I put that on Karen's card, so Karen knew. Because you got to realize Karen hates Keith. You know what I mean? And
that's her soon-to-be ex-husband or ex.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So that's the inside of the card, and then you see on the flap, you know, I got the description of the house. But it worked. Now I still haven't sold that house, but it doesn't matter. And just think about this now, the top 100 CEOs all have that card. Some of them are going to be impressed. They're going to go, wow, this guy knows how to sell a house. So when they go to sell a house, they may or may not remember me. But it has their picture on the front, so the chances are they're going to save it.
They may know somebody else who might want that house
Exactly.
too.
And this is a little house that I just love, and I've loved it for like 20 years. Mrs. Walls lives there or something. That's not the house, that's a little outhouse that's on the building. But I stop and see her once a year, and I have long before I've been in send out cards, because whenever she sells it or passes, I want her to know that I want to buy the house. And you'll see the house when you look at it. Next time you say, Jim, why would you want it? But that's me, you know, that's the house right there. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's only like 6 miles from downtown Cincinnati, but you can't see another house. You can't see a light. You can't hear a road from it. And it's a charming little stone house. Well, my kids are all grown. I don't need a house any bigger than that. I would remodel that, and I would be in hog heaven. So I stop down once a year, and I tell her, I say, Mrs. Walls, you know, I love you. She goes, I know, Jim, I know, Jim. Well, I went down about a year ago, and, you know, she was out, and I took that picture before I even started talking to her. She was on the phone. And then we talked for a while, and I just sent her that card. You know, it's always good seeing you. Your farm is truly a hidden gem. Well, she called me up, and she goes, I can't believe it. She goes, I would love to send cards to my grandchildren. So I took my laptop down to her house. So who do you think she's going to call when she sells that house? It's not a prayer. She's going to call anybody but me. Really. And it's because of these cards. The rest of them pretty much aren't real estate related, which is, to me, it's even better because it's the feeling you get when you send these cards that, you know, that's just it. My ex-wife, and I was telling Jackie about her this morning, I've been cutting her grass for the last 8 years, and she's got an 8-year-old boy right next door, and he just loves me because I talk to him, I play baseball with him, this and that, when I'm over there. And this past summer, he goes, Big Jim, when are you going to come to one of my baseball games? I said, well, Chase, when's your next baseball game? He goes, it's tonight at 6 o'clock. Well, it was like 4 o'clock, so 5:30 I turned the lawnmower off, and I take my camera and go down to Chase's game. That's him pitching, saying that card, Chase, I love you, love watching you play ball. That's him hitting, you know, and I got a cheap camera too. I just zoom in, you know, imagine if I had a good camera. That's him hitting. He's an awesome pitcher, he's an awesome hitter, you're a wonderful ball player, Chase.
I have a question, Jim. On that note, whenever I try to span a picture, it tells me it's not.
You don't have a good enough camera then. Yeah, if you try and copy a picture off Facebook, that typically will happen.
Yeah.
But if you take a picture with a digital camera, it should always work.
Not a good
you just need to get a different camera. Yeah. Or you know what? Most of these cameras have settings on them.
Yeah.
So your setting might be set to a low resolution. You're setting very well.
I would check that because most digital cameras.
I'm not a photographer, so I'm like everything I take, doesn't work.
Chase's mom called me
what
up
kind
and
of
she said,
camera do you
Jim,
have?
Is it old?
Like a Canon or something? Or
yeah.
Just a little cool pics?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I have in my pictures I take work fine. I run into the same thing off the internet or off Facebook. They're not, but yeah, it probably is.
And
your
I tried
setting.
to do like a canvas print, and I don't have a single picture anywhere that.
this is
works.
mine. I mean, this is a $175 camera right here. That's what took all these pictures.
What is it? What?
$175.
What's the name of it?
Panasonic.
Panasonic.
Yeah, mine's
But anyway,
just
Chase's
the cool
mom called
pics
me up.
whenever Ashton
I use my phone.
promotes.
Okay, I'll look at that.
Yeah.
She said Chase ran to her and said, Mom, where's the tape? And he taped it on the wall right above his bed. And it's still there. How cool is that?
Well, it's the
And
same
I just
thing.
took this one last Saturday.
If they ever sell their house, they're going to call you. If they are ever talking to somebody who's going to sell their house, they're going to give your name as a referral.
I haven't talked to his mom yet about sending out cards, but I'm going to.
Yeah.
She's a stay-at-home mom, and she really needs to be doing it. So this week, last Saturday, I took this picture. I was riding my bike past the high school I graduated from, and I knew that Chase plays football there on Saturday mornings, and I thought, well, maybe there's a chance. You know, they have football game after football game after football. And I've never seen him play football, so I rode in, and it was actually raining, you can tell. Luckily, his game was going on, so I took these pictures. So he got this card from me either yesterday or today. That's his dad. and him, and that's them out on the field. And I got his dad saying, yeah, they're bigger than you guys, but you're better than them, you know.
How cute.
Yeah,
That's great.
pictures of Chase blowing up.
Did you just make that up?
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
See, I'm not as creative.
And this guy on the right, he was
But
his.
the more, me either, but the more you see this stuff,
When
you
you
will
see it, well,
become
that's what I said,
creative.
if I saw
Yeah.
Oh,
something.
it makes. I wasn't like this before this. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
You are
This system has
great.
made me creative.
But you're great with the.
I carry
creativity.
this camera. This thing is
Right.
on my hip. I live with this. You know, I mean,
Okay. There you
the,
go.
the people you meet and the opportunities you get if you carry a camera, not before send out cards, but after send out cards, it's incredible. I mean, it sounds corny, but life changing really doesn't describe it. This guy, his mom was maid of honor in our wedding. She was Amy's best friend, and she died of cancer about 14 years ago. And he doesn't get along with his dad. The other 3 kids do, and they live with his dad. His dad won't even talk to him. He has a mental handicap. He's 26 years old, and his dad won't even talk to him, so he lives with his grandmother. And I was really close, and so was Amy with his mom. So you know, I told her I'd do what I could. So we see him a lot, and I take him to 3 or 4 Reds games every year. He loves the Reds game. So I just handed my camera to the person who rode behind us, and they took that picture. And that's you know, that's the cover of it, and that's the inside. Those are all pictures of Ryan. I mean, Ryan enjoyed the entire night with you. Let's do it again soon. And his grandmother called me up in tears. His grandmother was a real sweetheart. She said, you won't believe it. She still has it. She's got it hanging up in her living room, you know, when I'm here. This is when I went, just this year, I went to another game with him, and that's George Foster. You guys probably don't know the Reds, but George played a few years ago, and I saw him walking around. You know, he just happened to be walking around with his red shirt on. He's not playing, but he's walking around watching the game. And I said, George, can we get your picture? And, you know, I got a picture.
What does George do?
He's a ball player.
Oh, he's a
Yeah,
player?
he used to be.
Okay.
Not anymore. I mean, he
Okay.
retired probably 15 years ago.
Got it.
But he was a top Reds player back then. And that's Ryan at the game, you know, just great pictures. I mean, you're never going to throw that away. You can. This is a golf outing I went to. A friend of mine, my friend's sister's husband died. And last summer they wanted to start an annual golf outing. And he wanted to see if I would get a foursome. I said, I'd love to get a foursome. You know, I knew him. Didn't know him really well. I knew Jim's sister, but I didn't know Skip that terribly well. But, you know, I said, yeah, I'll get a foursome. And I thought about it, so I got the foursome ready, and I told him, I called Jim up, I said, after the outing, Jim, I said, tell your sister, I'd like to send the thank you cards to everybody that showed up. He goes, well, what are you talking about, Mac? My friends all call me Mac. He goes, why would you send the thank you cards? I said, and he doesn't know about it. I said, I know it doesn't make sense. I said, I'll tell you what, I'll just send one to myself, and then I'll get together with it. So I sent this card to myself, you know, or one just like this. This is the actual card that we use. And so then I met with him and his sister, and I said, guys, I'm going to send the thank you cards out if it's okay with you. And I said, you won't pay anything, I'll pay for it too. And I said, all you have to do is whoever's signing the people in, take a picture of each foursome, you know, when they sign in, which you normally do anyway. And so the thank you card was the picture of that foursome, the people that open the thank you card, and on the inside, the message is the same to everybody. And so those people, next year when they get the invitation, number one, they're not going to throw the card away because it's a picture of them on a beautiful day, you know. And next year they're way more likely to play in the golf outing. So anyway, I showed it to them, and they said, yeah, we'd love for you to send out the card. You know, are you sure you won't let us pay for them? There's no way I was going to let them pay for it because, you know, 200 people got these cards. Now, I still didn't get any business from it, but Jackie and I talked about this. I will eventually get more than one person because they're going to be so impressed. In the back of, you know, my website's on the back of every one of those cards.
Darn.
This guy is the guy on the left. I sold him the house about 3 or 4 years ago. Chris Cole is his name. He's a lawyer, and he's also a #2 guy in marketing at Northern Kentucky University. And he put on Facebook about 1.5 years ago that he was going to lose 165 pounds. And when I was showing him the house, the guy was brilliant. He had like a 4.0 average in law school, and he's great personality. 365 pounds. And it was like, you know, he never said anything. It was, God, you got the world by the tail, man. Lose a little bit of weight. It felt so bad. And then, you know, that was 3 years ago. And then 1.5 years ago, I see he puts on Facebook, he's going to lose 165 pounds. Now that takes balls if you're going to put it on Facebook. And you're that big a weight, you're telling, and he's one of those guys like me, he's got 1,000 friends. And I thought, well, I'm just going to follow him. So I followed him, and I, you know, snapped some pictures off of his Facebook. I didn't take any of those pictures. And I saw one of the quotes that he posted. It says there on the left, unless you puke, faint, or die, keep going. It's Jillian Michaels. And so that was his quote. Well, that's Jillian's quote, but he posted it. And I put, Chris, your success is inspiring hundreds of others. You truly are, man. You know, there's pictures of him before and after. I mean, look at him on the right there. Is that unbelievable?
Yeah.
It's
Do you guys all know who Jillian Michaels is?
Yeah.
She's
Biggest loser.
she's the, yeah.
Biggest loser.
Yeah.
I didn't send him any brownies.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah, no
choice.
brownies. This is probably my favorite card. Like you said, the one, the CEO was a big card. This is even better. It was last November. I was having, you know, life's like this for all of us. We all like to think we're up all the time, but I was at a really low period because of the breakup. And when I get up in the morning, I'm a coffeeaholic. So if I don't make coffee, I stop at White Castles. You guys have White Castles around you?
We don't
Heard of
know,
them.
but
Oh, you know what it is?
Yeah.
They make the best coffee in the world. It's better than Starbucks.
Really?
Better than Panera too. But anyway, if I don't make my own coffee, I stop at White Castle's drive-through and just get White Castles. And this, you know, young black girl is so friendly and bubbly always, 6:30, 7 in the morning. I've never met anybody so bubbly. Well, that morning I was literally in tears. You know, it was really a tough morning. I was in tears. And before I pulled up, I thought, you know, it took 5 or 10 minutes. I had to gather myself because I didn't want Danielle to see me crying. And then, you know, I pulled up to the microphone and I ordered my coffee, and I could tell it was her from her voice. You know, so I get around and she bounds out the window like that. It just made me smile. You know, I got my camera with me all the time. Instantly, I thought, you know, I'm gonna send her a thank you call. So I said, Danielle, can I take your picture? She goes, what for? Why would you take my picture? I said, you'll see, just let me take your picture. She said, okay. So I go back to the office, and I was going to send her a card, and I thought, no, I'm not going to send it to Danielle. I'm going to send it to the regional manager. So I Googled regional manager at White Castles, and he's not in Kentucky, he's up in Columbus, you know, 100 miles away. And I sent him this card, and I also called and found out who the manager was of her White Castles, and I sent him the exact same card. So this was on the cover of both of them. And on the inside, and I will read this because it's important. You can't tell I'm proud of my kids, can you? I put my kids on. It says, the regional manager is Chris Canelli. It says, I frequently visit your Cold Spring, Kentucky drive-through in the morning for coffee and breakfast. It's such a pleasure when Danielle is the person who takes my order and greets me at the window. She always has an incredible smile and is always upbeat and happy. It just starts my day off right. It's so unusual to run into a fast food worker with her positive attitude. Could you please see that she gets this gift card for making my mornings? And I included a $20 gift card. And so they both, you know, this guy and the manager got one of those. So you know how it is. Sometimes you send these cards out and you can't wait to get the response. And I thought, the next like 4 times I went through the drive-through, Danielle wasn't there. It was somebody else. And about 3 or 4 weeks later, you know, it was Danielle. So I pull up, you know, give her my money, get the coffee. She goes, Jim McCord, and now she never knew my name. I always knew Danielle. We didn't know each other, you know. I buy coffee from her. She goes, Jim McCord, I can't believe what you did with that picture. I said, what? She said, wait till I tell you what happened. She said, the CEO came down from White Castles with 4 big shots. They drove down. They told our manager a week in advance.
Oh my God, I'm getting chills.
I get chills every time I tell them. They rented O'Charlie's, a room in O'Charlie's like this. O'Charlie's is across the street. They wanted to take our whole restaurant for an appreciation dinner. And so we all went over there, and she said, and he got up and he said, no, before I start this dinner, he said, we will make a presentation. He said, Danielle, would you come up here? Danielle walked up and he says, we're not here for the whole restaurant. He says, I got this card to tell me about Danielle. He says, we're here to appreciate Danielle and the service that she gives.
Oh my God.
So they took the whole restaurant out, 5 of them, yes.
That's cool.
And then gave her a $100 gift certificate on top of my $20 gift card. And she goes, I can't believe you did that. You know, I mean, wow, wow. You know, how incredible is it to be able to do that? You know, and not only that, but I mean, that girl deserves to, she should be the frickin' manager, not of the White House, she should be the regional manager. I mean, for her personality. And now she's got a little better chance to do it.
Wow.
The front of that where her picture is that one of the templates?
Yeah, that's a card, I love that.
That's
I don't
cool
think
how you
I've
put
ever
it in
seen
there.
that.
Yeah, I didn't create that, yeah, that's a template. That's a tear-out thing, and I wish I brought it with me. It's it looks so good in person. I mean, it literally looks like somebody tore the card. It's really incredible. Now this one, I told Jackie 2 years ago, I flew out to Phoenix and did the 3-day, 60-mile breast cancer walk. And on the way out there, I sat next to this woman on the way out, and I'm a pretty compassionate guy, I really am. But the woman on the left, I didn't bring my pointer, I forgot to put it in there, but that lady, I sat right next to her all the way out to Phoenix. Man, you talk about a nightmare, I mean, poor lady, I mean, she says, I mean, I did what I could for her for a while, but she just complained about everything. Her legs were sore, she had to get up like every 10 minutes, you know, she could hardly walk. And everybody was getting frustrated with her. But the flight attendant, her name's Pat George, you can see the big smile she got. She was so patient with this woman the entire 4-hour flight. She just walked her at least 10 different times, never lost her patience, unbelievable. It made everybody's trip a little bit better because we didn't have to hear this old woman whining. In that lower left picture is a lady in the very back, the last seat on the plane. She had that little baby. You know how mothers are with their first babies on a plane, they're nervous anyway. But that baby was crying like a lot. And that flight attendant went from the old lady to the baby. It was like, God, this lady has more patience than anybody I've ever seen.
And she resigned at the end of the flight.
Yeah, so so I sent this, I asked for her employee number. She said, what are you gonna do with it? I said, I'm gonna send a thank you letter. I didn't hear anything back from anybody on this one, but it's still fun to do it. In the backdrop is a picture I took out that flight, out the window of that exact flight. It says, Dear Joe, I rarely see kindness to the point that I would do something like this. Well, that's not true anymore, but it was when I wrote this. I do it a lot now because when I send out cards. I rarely see kindness to the point that I would do something like this, but Pat George is the exception. On a flight on November 11th from CBG to Phoenix, she was so kind to an old woman next to me having leg cramps and to a young mother traveling alone with a cranky baby that I wanted to let someone at Delta know. I, for one, really appreciate her incredible service. It's just fun to be able to do that.
You never heard back on that one?
No. But I'll bet she did. I bet Pat did.
I bet you're right. I know American does. When, if you send a letter and they let. I'm sure they do too. Yeah.
A lot of people say, Jim, where do you get ideas? Because I send like 5 or 10 cards out a day now for the last 2 months. I did in the first 2 years, but I'm addicted to it now. Actually, I usually start meetings out by saying, "Hi, I'm Jim. I'm a cardaholic."
That's cute.
Yeah, I always do. I don't know why I did, but I forgot. I guess because we're so casual. But anyway, the lady in there, she owns the Keller Williams office in Northern Kentucky, and she also owns the Keller Williams office in Louisville, Kentucky. And she's probably got 7 or 8 cards from me. She's close to getting in. Now, if you get the owner-broker in of the office, and she gets it, then you're going to get, she's got 2 big offices, so I really want her in. So she's getting a lot of touches from me. And I saw that picture that she posted on Facebook just like a week ago, of her and her kids in that little playhouse. So, and the little thought bubble coming out of her little boy says, "But Mom, you're a realtor, why can't we get a bigger house?"
That's cute.
And then I took a picture of myself, that one down there. I was with clients a few years ago, and there was a playhouse, and I had my client take a picture of me because I knew I could use it. I knew I'd use it. I've used it numerous times. And I put, Heidi, things get way more comfortable once the kids grow up and move on. So I know Heidi will never throw that card away.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. But I wouldn't have thought of that if it weren't for Facebook. You just on Facebook, I could literally sit on Facebook 8 hours a day and look through, like, people post quotes. You can copy their quote. They post things like, your daughter going away. If you weren't to send out cards and, you're getting emotional about your daughter going away, and I took that picture and sent it to you, you would never throw that picture away.
No.
No?
I have cards that people sent me way before I was in send out cards of me and my daughter and I kept all of those. I threw them in a box.
Exactly. This is another one I got on Facebook. I graduated with Ellen Faith. We saw each other at 2 reunions, but she posted this. Spring Grove Cemetery is the biggest cemetery in Cincinnati, and she just posted that picture, and it's really gorgeous.
That is.
It doesn't look that gorgeous here, but on a computer it's really spectacular. And so I just put it on a black background, and I sent that. That's the cover of the card, and then I copied, that's her and her kids, from Facebook. It says, "Hi Ellen, I love the fall photo you posted on Facebook last week. Saved it and will use it in many cards I send. Thanks, I hope things are well." And I will, because it's such a great card to use. But it's just nice to touch like that. This was my Christmas card the first year, and I love this, because that's right when Tiger Woods got busted for being with 14 different women. That happened. And I was trying to come up with a unique Christmas card. So my Christmas card that year was a Tiger Woods Christmas. 14 hoes. That went out there. And I got such a good response from them.
I'm sure you did.
I can't tell you how many people called and said, "Where did you find that card? Is that at Hallmark? Where did you find that card?"
From Jim's card store.
Yeah, that might be my all-time favorite card. Yeah, Tiger Woods Christmas.
What a cute idea.
My kids ran the Chicago Marathon in 2009, and they all saved it. It's nice to do. He stayed at the Plaza. And then my daughter Maggie on the right, she's getting married February 23rd, so that's her fiance. And she actually used this system, and this is the actual card that she sent. That's the save the date card. And we're working right now on the invitation. And then after that, we already have everybody in the database from the save the date card, so the invitations are going to be great. And I think I might have the invitation on the next slide. I don't know if I do or not. But the thank you cards are going to be even better. And think about this. The photographer at every wedding takes a picture of every table. every wedding, they do, that's just one of the things they do. So the thank you card, now instead of the woman sitting there, women do that, they write that, men don't write many thank you cards. Instead of handwriting all those thank you cards, you know, the inside will be the thank you, a generic thank you, and the outside of the card will be the picture of the table of the person you're sending it to. I mean, how cool is that?
Right.
And then you open it up, and it leaves with Maggie, what we're gonna do, it'll be Maggie and David dancing, the whole spread of them dancing with a thank you note. You know, and they'll send it like 3 days in advance, so they got 3 days to make personal changes to the ones they want. But those people will keep those cards. And then not only that, but some of those girls are gonna go, wow, when they get married, I want my cards to go out like that. You know, so I'm so excited Maggie was willing to do this on my system. Because once we're done with the wedding, I got a save the date card. I'm doing a card with Molly, her sister, right now for a shower card. We're gonna do the invitations, and we're gonna do the thank you card. And I'm gonna do a video, just like I did for real estate, for wedding photographers. You know, and then send that around the
Oh,
wedding.
that's a great idea.
That's the inside, you guys see that. My son Jimmy just was hired 6 months ago as a pilot, so that's his first flight at the CGP. He took that picture on the bottom out of the cockpit. And it's the plane he was flying, that's it, he was actually flying it on a computer. If you blow it up, believe it or not, if you blow this up, you can actually see Jimmy. You can actually tell it, so it's really cool, it's a great picture.
Who took it?
It's so funny, you know, he's only flown into CBG twice. And he was already a pilot for maybe 2 months or something. He was already flying for United for like 2 months. And he texted me the night before, he goes, Dad, I'm flying my first flight into CBG in the morning around 10. He goes, if you and Mom want to come, there's an overlook. You know, you can go watch planes land and take off. And so I called Amy, I said, hey, I'm going to go watch Jimmy's first flight in. I said, do you want to go? And she said, yeah, well, there's not many flights with the flying to Cincinnati with, you know, most of them are jets. Most of them don't have propellers anymore. So Jimmy said, I'll be the only prop that flies in here that morning, and you'll be able to tell. I'm the only United flight that's flying in. So Amy and I got out there about a half hour early, and unbelievably, you know, this is my traffic camera, and I'm telling you, it's literally like a mile away. I knew I wasn't going to get much of a picture. But talk about synchronicity. There's a guy there on the back of his pickup truck with a lens this big on his camera. You know, and I told Amy, I said, I'm going to get that guy to take a picture of Jimmy. She goes, how do you? I was telling you how Amy is. She goes, you're going to talk to him? Of course I'm going to talk to him, you know. If he's friendly, I'll do it. If he's not, he won't.
Right.
And he couldn't have been friendlier. I said, you know, our son's flying in here in the next few minutes. He said, is there any way you can snap a picture? Well, he was thrilled to death. And he took this, he took a bunch of them. I mean, pictures, unbelievable.
Then did you just email them to you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I sent him a card.
Yeah.
He's got a card from him. I'm convinced eventually he's going to get in because he loves photography. And he loved the card. And I sent him brownies. You know. That's my daughter on the right. She's the one that lives in San Diego. And that's her boyfriend's second lieutenant in the Marines. That's why they moved out there. He's in Camp Pendleton. And he's in Afghanistan now. So I've sent him like 6 cards, always with brownies, because he loves brownies, and the food over there they get is horrible. That's a picture of him and Molly out in Southern California. And that's their flag football team. He plays, and that's my daughter on the right. And you know, the little top level on the left says, we all miss you. And then Molly says, but I miss you the most. And that's their team. You know, they play on the beach. That's the flap. I put a bunch of pictures of Molly and Mark. And I said that was 16.
16 brownies. Boy, he loves you.
And then he's got like 5 of those boxes since he's been here. Yeah. Now this is my favorite story, because I got in October of '09. I started using it, you know, and I loved it. Obviously, it worked. I knew it worked. Brad really wanted me to do it as a business, and I thought, man, you don't realize I hate network marketers. I don't want to be that network marketing guy. I hate those people. Those friends that always tried to. I don't want to be that guy. But I started using it, and I loved it, loved it, loved it, and I thought, man, it's really hard not to be that guy. I really want to do it. So the convention was coming up, and I can fly for free. So I thought, I'm going to go out to Salt Lake City. It was the 2010 convention, and prove why I'm not going to do this as a business. I know I'm going to keep doing it for real estate because it's phenomenal. But I'm sure if I go to the convention, I'm going to run into all these idiots, and I'm going to find out what's wrong with the company, and it's a scam. So I go out there. And the first day went really well, and I guess one thing I didn't tell you that I have to tell you is I love talking to homeless people. I started doing that 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I ran from San Diego to Washington, D.C. for diabetes. I ran a marathon a day alone, and I got really, really bored. So I started, homeless people, I started talking to them. And I'm telling you, I'd rather talk to a homeless person than Jordan Adler or Cody Bateman, or President Obama, or Mitt Romney, because their stories are way more interesting, and they're really, truly genuine people. Now, about half of them are schizophrenic, and they'll kill you or walk away. They don't make any sense. So As soon as you realize they're like that, God bless them, you gotta walk away, you can't even talk to them. But about half, because I talked to a lot of them, about half of them are people just like me and you that had one thing after the next happen. And, you know, shit happens and down on their luck, and that's what happened. But I'm telling you, if you ever want to have a good time, you know, women, I would suggest, because there's plenty of homeless women, you wouldn't want to talk to a homeless man. But talk to homeless women, I'm not kidding you, it'll change your life. So I've been doing that for the last 10 years when I see them. And Salt Lake City is like the capital of homeless people. I don't know if you knew that. It is because of the Mormons. The Mormons treat, yeah, they take really good care of them.
California was shipping all their homeless people to Utah back in the 80s.
So it was like a field day for me. You know, I got out there and I didn't know that, and I see all these homeless people. I thought, oh my God, I've hit the jackpot, because I love talking to them.
Well, by the Salt Palace, they're all over.
Yeah. And these are two that I talked to, and the second day of the conference, I got up at 5:30 and I wanted to find a coffee shop. Like yesterday, I sat in, before these guys found me, I sit in a coffee shop. I do my real estate, then I go to a coffee shop when I'm done with real estate. I can't wait to get done with my real estate so I can sit in an easy chair in a coffee shop and send out cards. You know, some real estate, some personal. So anyway, I know if I walk around downtown Salt Lake City, I'll find a coffee shop. So I'm walking around, 5:30 in the morning, it's dark, and I see a coffee shop, and I see this homeless guy sitting on a table outside of it. And I thought, well, I'm gonna get a cup of coffee and talk to him. But then I realized he got a laptop, so I thought, well, he's not homeless, he's got a laptop. He can't be homeless. So I went in, I got my coffee, and all the chairs in that coffee shop were like this. There wasn't a comfortable chair in the coffee shop like we had last night in ours. So I thought, well, screw this, I'll walk and find a better coffee shop. So I got about a block away, and then it prompted him. He's like, no, that guy's homeless, you need to go back and talk to him. So I went back and I said, hey, bud, do you mind if I sit down? He goes, help yourself. And I said, right away, I said, are you homeless? He goes, yeah, I'm homeless, but what's it to you? You know, he's kind of offended. And I said, well, this is going to sound really weird, but I love talking to homeless people. And I told him why. And we hit it off just like that. You know, he's a great guy. He's not one, he never was a drinker. He never was into drugs. You know, everybody thinks all homeless people are alcoholics and drug addicts, and they're not.
Right.
He never was. Even before he was homeless, he went into that. He owned a computer store, and his wife left him. He got sick. His business went bankrupt. One thing after the next. So for the last 4 years, he's been homeless. But he kept a laptop, and he goes outside of coffee shops, and he stays in touch with his family, you know, that way. And we talked for 2 hours, and it was just unbelievable. And anytime I talk to homeless people, if they ask me for money, I get up and leave right away. I don't do it rudely. I just say I gotta go. If they ask me for money, I don't hang out. But if they don't ask me for money, when I leave, I said, hey, can I give you a couple bucks? So we talked for 2 hours, and I said, Randy, I gotta leave. I'll be late for this convention. Can I give you a couple bucks? And he said, yeah. So I gave him $5, and I walk away. I get about 10 steps away, and he goes, Jim, can you come back? In my sick mind, I think, oh God, I should have never given him $5. Son of a bitch is gonna ask me for more money. I know he is. And that's what I'm thinking, you know. I'm walking back kind of disgusted, and I think I'm gonna be late, and this guy's gonna be begging me for money. I can't believe I thought that, but that's what I was thinking. And he said, can you sit down? I said, well, Randy, I'm already late. He said, sit down just for a minute, it's really important. And I saw that he had a tear in his eye. And I said, yeah, sit down. And he goes, I gotta tell you, he goes, you know, I've been homeless for 4 years. He goes, nobody has ever sat down and talked to me for 2 hours. He says, you're the first person in 4 years that's ever talked to me for 2 hours. And he said, that really means a lot to me. And he had told me during the time that we talked, he told me that homeless people don't even talk to homeless people. And they've all told me that too, because they can't trust each other. You know, if you form a bond with a homeless person, when you go to sleep, they're gonna knock you out and see if you got a quarter or a buck in your pocket. And he said, they all tell me that. And so they don't have this camaraderie that you would think they do. And he said, nobody's ever talked to me. And he goes, so I really appreciate that. He goes, but that's not why I called you back. He said, believe it or not, today is my mom's birthday. And he said, I'm probably not going to talk to anybody for another 4 years. And he goes, I'm just sick. He goes, my mom's distraught that I'm homeless. She hasn't seen me in 4 years. And today is her birthday in Florida. And he said, I had to share that. Oh, by that time, I'm crying. He's crying. You know, it's not tears. I mean, we're both grown men, a homeless guy, and a 50-some-year-old man. I mean, we're both in tears. And he said, I just had to share that. And I said, well, Randy, I said, you know, you didn't ask me what I do, but I said, sometimes things happen for a reason. I said, I'm out here with a company called Send Out Cards. And I pulled my card out. I said, you can get on this site. And I said, you can send your mom a birthday card. And he goes, what do you mean? He goes, I don't have any money. I don't have a credit card. I said, no, it's free. So he's already on the site. You know, he's really good with computers. He's already on the site, and I'll talk to him about it. And he goes, wow. He goes, I can even send a picture? And I said, yeah. He goes, I don't have any pictures. He goes, I wish my mom hasn't seen. I wish I could send a picture. Well, I got my camera. I said, Randy, do you have an email? He goes, yeah, I got an email. Can you imagine that, a homeless guy with an email? I mean, you would think. And I said, if you send me an email, my email's on the card, if you send me an email when I get on break, if you let me take these pictures, I'll send you pictures of yourself, and you can drop them in the car. And he goes, God, Jim, we did meet for a reason. You know, how cool is that? So right away, I'm out in Salt Lake City to prove what's wrong with this company. And I walk away in tears, and I realize my life's changed. I'm now a car salesman. You know, literally, that one thing. And the other ones all led up to it. But that one right there, God, it was a blind and sinker. I was done. I was so. And so anyway, you know, he does that, and I go to the convention. I took the pictures of him, and what a cool guy. You know, the backdrop is a picture of obviously the Mormon Tabernacle at night. And it's beautiful. I use that for other things too. But I sent this card to Cody, and I'm actually going to read it to you. I know I've gone on kind of long.
No, I don't know that we have anywhere else to be, right? So.
And it says, Cody, and I did get a response from Cody. Cody sent me a card. Cody, thanks again for this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I have to share a prompting experience I had while at the convention in Salt Lake City. I often stop to talk with homeless people and truly enjoy the experience, as I was homeless for 6 months in 2004, which I won't go into, but I was. Both of the men on the cover of this card are homeless men I chatted with while at the convention. Isaac is the top photo and Randy is the bottom. Saturday morning at 6, I left my room at the plaza to find an open coffee shop. I passed the man below on the left twice because I could tell he was homeless, but he had a small laptop. Prompting urged me to go back and introduce myself. Randy was very friendly, had been homeless since 2006, and yes, he carries a laptop. He was outside the coffee shop to use their free Wi-Fi. We chatted for 2 hours. He was feeling low because that day was his mother's birthday. She lives in Florida and he hasn't seen her for years. I shared with him that he could send her a card free from my site. He was thrilled but had no photo of himself, so I took 3 pics. He sent me an email and friended me on Facebook, and I immediately sent him photos. Your company is improving our world. And I mean, isn't it? You know, you guys all know that. I'm preaching to the choir here, but I mean, how cool is that? You know? So I was so excited. Randy had 14 friends on Facebook. You know, I got like 1,400. Randy's got 14 friends. And this is a little bit crude, but I have to tell it because it's so funny. When I created my site, I didn't create it. I'm not good with the computer at all. Sam, my youngest son, created it. SendAlittleKindness.com. I had him put that Hootie and the Blowfish song on, Hold My Hand. You know, I love that song. And Sam creates this, you know, site for me. And I said, Sam, I want that song to play. And he said, Dad, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. I'm not putting it on. I said, Sam, you know, you're the son, I'm the dad, it's my site, you're putting the song on. He goes, I'm not. So literally, we argued about it, and he put it on. So I had the site up for maybe 6 months or something. And I thought, you know, Randy and I are communicating back and forth on Facebook. And I told Randy in a Facebook message, I said, Randy, if you let me pay to get you in, I said, you're pretty good on that laptop. I said, I'll pay to get you in. And you could like pick car salesmen, you could pick realtors, you could pick veterinarians, you pick whatever you want, you can pick computer stores. If you send cards, and I said, you know, in your spare time, I said, you might start making checks and you could have them sent to me. And I said, once every month or 6 months, I said, who knows? And you know, he wasn't really interested in that. And I really wanted to get him to do it. But you know, homeless people, they're homeless for a reason. They kind of lost their incentive.
Right.
Well, after a couple months back and forth, this is what he said to me. This is the funniest damn thing, and excuse my language, but he goes, Jim, I've thought about it. He goes, if you will put me in as a distributor, he goes, I think I'm going to do it. But he said, you have to take the fucking song off your website. It's driving me nuts. I swear to God. And that wasn't an email, so I highlighted, copied, and I sent it to Sam. I said, Sam, take the fucking song off your website. Now, isn't that great? So Sam calls me right away. He goes, Dale, I got your email. He goes, you'll listen to a homeless guy in Salt Lake City, but you won't listen to your own son. You know? But isn't that great? And then he never did join. He never did let me sign him up. But, you know, you guys all know this, but those are the gifts that we can send and gift cards that we can send. Have you all heard about this book? Isn't that book awesome? Yeah.
I wish they'd get it as a gift that we, I wish they'd get it.
I sent it to Cody already. I
have too.
Yeah, I think a bunch of us did. Yeah. You haven't heard of the book?
No.
It's an amazing book.
It is.
Have you heard of it?
What's that say?
It's 365 thank yous. It's John Kralik, K-R-A-L-I-K. And he's an attorney, and I don't like
He's a
attorneys.
judge
Mhm.
now.
Yeah.
It's in Pasadena, California.
Yeah, I really don't
I
like
wish we
attorneys.
could send that, I'd love to send that book out to
It's
people.
excellent.
You love to what?
I would love to be able to send that book out to people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta believe he'll get it in there eventually.
I would think.
But anyway, he went through really tough times, you know, like I did, and like we all do, not just me and him, everybody does. And his got really tough, and you know, he was down to a 1-bedroom apartment, and his wife had left him, and his business was totally shot. And he was thinking about suicide. He was out walking one day, and I don't remember if it was dad or his grandfather, but one of them said, you know, when you get really down, you have to be grateful for what you have and thank people. And he came up with this idea on his own to send 365, thank you a day, every day for a year. And he did, and well, you have to read it, but you know, those of us who are doing stuff like this understand it changes your life.
It's a pretty easy read too.
Yeah, it really is, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those where you get sucked in, you think you're only gonna read a chapter, and then
Exactly.
before you know it, you finish the whole book because you couldn't put it down.
Yeah. But anyway, that's it, and that's, you know, since we're already all in it, that's how, you see, my presentation really isn't, it's all product. I don't really do the opportunity at all. Because I'm convinced, because I am just, personally, I'm convinced that I can't sell the opportunity. Now, I can, if I'm in a room with people that love network marketing, I can sell it. But because I hated network marketing so much, in my mind, I think everybody does. But just like me, when I started using this, I fell in love with it, and it's the funnest thing I've ever done. I'm going to do it all my life. Whether I make money on it or not, I'm going to do it all my life. So if I get people to sign up, then those who like network marketing are going to get into it as a business. So that's why in my presentation, I do really no opportunity. It's all, you know, what it does.
Now, why did you hate network marketing so badly? Tell us
Because
about
I hit all the people that, you know, the friends and relatives and schoolmates that insisted I go to this meeting and that meeting, and you go there and they're with the chalkboard and they write up, and you know, they're going to be rich in 3 years, and if you don't do it, you're going to be regretting it. And, you know, it was all products I hated. I didn't want to sell soap. You know, I don't want to sell product. I don't want to sell health drinks. And it just all seemed like a scam to me. It all did. Now, obviously, it's not. I mean, obviously, you know, Amway's created, like, I think, hundreds of thousands of millionaires. I mean, it works. No doubt it works, but
Maybe not hundreds of thousands.
whatever.
Hundreds.
A lot. Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah,
how
I don't
many.
know
I
either.
have no idea how many.
Interesting.
I think if you're in a business like the real estate, or like I have a family member that has their own little golf store, and apparently they get approached all the time, just because you already have had a business or you're a sales type person. I think like the general population, like honestly, I didn't even know what network marketing was, which seems odd, but I just.
I think, like Jackie mentioned
I mean,
last
you've heard
night,
of
I think
Amway.
that people, there's a misnomer though, that I don't think realtors are approached all the time. I think that there's a
Really?
wide open market.
Oh, it's
for it.
totally wide open. Yeah, totally,
Oh.
completely wide open.
But like Jackie said last night, a lot of times people will get the idea, I'm gonna show this to realtors, and they'll show it to 2 people and get shot down and never show it again.
See, now
And
the
then they say, oh,
realtors I've talked to have already known about the send out cards.
That's hard for me to believe, because I hit them all the
Yeah.
time and almost
But,
nobody.
but you know, ask them, have you tried it?
Yeah, and some
Well,
of
no,
them.
they're already customers, so I'm like,
Really?
oh, okay, no.
But
That's-
how many would you
Yeah.
say that is? So if you had to do a count, like how many are we really talking about?
Well, granted, when I'm talking to them, it's at a networking event, so they've been approached, but I'd say almost everyone.
But how many is that?
Oh, say 12, 15. I
Yeah,
don't
see,
know.
I mean,
You know, it's not,
And it's the
And
people who
it's-
are at the networking
it's the
events.
but they're at,
Right.
that's
Yeah,
the point, I
that's
think, that
because there's a
when
whole
they're there,
world of
Yes,
people
a
out there
couple
who
more of these
never
around
ever
Jackie.
go to
who
networking.
go to
events.
networking, yeah, and I think that that's
So
where.
I had
Jim, this
never
is
done
Ann,
that my whole
Ann,
life.
Jim.
How you
Nice to
doing?
meet you, Jim.
Are you from here? From here?
No, I'm from Tennessee.